you can make the question from the AI, why can't we answer that using the AI to attempt that task? But this sort of help wouldn't be available for you for your assessment, for your end of term assessment. We need to minimize our talking time, and we need to give the students the liberty to communicate and to share the way they are thinking.
Welcome back to AssessPrep Insights. As education enters a brand new era, we're not just watching the change happen, we're trying to understand how to guide them. On this podcast, we connect with leading educators from across the globe who are at the forefront of redefining the future of learning. From demystifying the real world of artificial intelligence to designing assessments that truly capture the student potential. We're diving into the innovation shaping today's classroom. I'm your host, Sidhi Baweja, and I'm so glad you're tuning in today. For our fifth episode, we're joined by a fantastic guest, Mohammad Noman. He's a highly dedicated physics educator who brings in 9 years of rich classroom experience to the table. After spending first 5 years of career teaching O-level students, Mohammad transitioned into IB space 4 years ago, specializing in MYP Physics. Having started his IB journey at BeaconHouse Newlands, Lahore, he's currently teaching at TNS Lahore, where he brings a deep passion for scientific inquiry and student development. In today's episode, we're going to first understand his approach to teaching, his teaching journey, his philosophy, his challenges, and if he has any cheat sheets and any best practices for all of us to learn from. Second, one of our favorite topics, we're going to talk about artificial intelligence, his take on AI and assessments. And third, we're going to talk about turning data into analytics. If AI is helping him do that, if there's anything that we can learn from his experience. So, Noman, we're so glad to have you on this chat today. So over to you. I would love to hear from you, your teaching philosophy, your approach, and a little about you.
Yes, first of all, thank you, Sidhi, for having me on this podcast. I'm really glad that you contacted me and you considered my efforts worthy to be portrayed and to be shared with other educators. I'm really thankful to you. And yes, AssessPrep has definitely made our lives easier, because in these days we are dealing with the kids who are super engaged with their devices, and they are dealing with a lot of stuff. Like they are processing a lot of information, in fact, during the classroom. So we need to keep them engaged. We cannot keep them engaged just by having conversation with them for more than 10 minutes. So for the rest of the 30 or 40 minutes of our lessons, AssessPrep is there for our help. I must admit that AssessPrep has made our lives easier in a way that we design some task relevant to the topic which we have to teach to our kids. So we make a relevant task for the kids, and that's how we keep the students engaged, and that's how we make them answerable and responsible to do something in the class. And yes, the special feature of the AssessPrep, which I found really nice, is the addition of the video along with some nice images. So that's how the students feel nice information, because these days students don't like to read text and they cannot visualize the situation just by reading the text. I try to keep the students engaged by giving them the class tasks, and this is the reason I have made so many assessments, and this is the reason you have counted a lot of assessments on the AssessPrep. So I have found AssessPrep really nice and engaging, and that's how I've been keeping my students engaged during the lessons.
I think it's lovely to hear about your experience with AssessPrep. I think what I would want to sort of get into is, without AssessPrep, right? Like, what is your teaching philosophy? What are the kind of challenges you're facing with today's generation? You touched upon one of it, that you can't keep the students engaged. But while teaching, what kind of challenges are you facing? What are your teaching strategies in class? Anything on that?
Yeah, the number one challenge in these days is to control the kids in a way that they consider the teacher as a person worth listening to. Because in these days, kids are consuming so much of media and games as well, which makes sense. A lot of games make a lot of sense. They give the reward on time, so kids are tuned to that sort of communication. So these days, teachers need to come up with a tone, and teachers, especially I consider myself that I need to work upon my communication so that the kids of these days, 14, 15-year-old kid, might find me interesting, because I cannot keep them engaged for more than 10 minutes. So I have to come up with certain strategies to make my conversation really interesting. And I can do so for 10 to 15 minutes, but then I assign them some tasks so that they can manifest themselves, and they get the chance and they get the room to express themselves. So yes, these are some of the challenges. Yeah.
I think it's very interesting as to what you just said, right? Because we see it with young kids these days that keeping them engaged is a very big task. Their attention span is supremely low. So one, like you said, that you yourself can keep them engaged for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but beyond that, you need to come up with a few strategies where they can reflect. Could you share with us a few of those activities, a few of those strategies that teachers can sort of learn from to ensure that the larger Gen Alpha is now engaged by the teachers?
Yeah, exactly. So, as I'm a full-time teacher, I keep moving around here and there in my school, and I notice some of my kids are engaged in different activities. Like some of my kids have set up a coffee stall, coffee place, coffee shop in our school in the ground floor. So they were really into that thing, and they were selling the iced coffee, like cold coffee and warm coffee to the kids. So then I had to teach them the concept of the thermal physics. So I came up with a situation that one of the students, I have ordered one of the students to give me a coffee and give me that coffee in my office. And my office is on the 3rd floor, but the coffee shop is on the ground floor, and it's really cold these days. It was the thing of the December. So I asked them, how would you ensure to keep the coffee warm while you are taking that from the ground floor till the 3rd floor? Then the students tried to come up with certain ideas that they would initially keep the coffee really warm, but you see, and then some of the kids came up with the ideas about having some insulation around that coffee mug to keep that warm. So that's how I create some situation which is relevant to the kids, which the kids are experiencing these days, because that coffee shop was not opened by only one student, that was managed by almost 5 students, and most of the school community was involved in that, and the coffee shop had a space for sitting as well. So that was really a phenomenon in those days, back in those days, especially around November and December. So having this information, I improvised the situation, and I tried to revolve my whole thermal physics topic around that. So that's how I try to let the students engage in this conversation where they can relate it with their daily life experience. So that unit went really well, because the kids took interest. They were not only serving the warm coffee, they were also serving the cold coffee as well. So I kept on changing the situation. And in IB, when we ask the question related to inquiring and designing, we can ask them to design an investigation, and then we can additionally give them the task to extend the investigation, where they have to give the cold coffee to some teacher. Then how would they ensure that the cold coffee remains cold? So yes, that's how I usually try to give them the situation which the students are experiencing during their academic year.
I think it's a very interesting way, because I think that's how we've all learned, right? Like we've taken a 10 rupee, but now I'm intrigued, right? Like, because the situations you're coming up with, which are also tied up to how IB is, inquiries you just mentioned, I'm actually very curious, where does AI fit in, right? Because the way children learned about thermal is not by going to AI or by doing an assessment, but actually doing something which is so which is so present in their life at that moment. So where do you see AI coming in genuine and true learning then?
But yeah, you see, whatever I have just mentioned and whatever I've just shared with you, I assessed them during their formative and summative assessment as well. So whenever I wrote this situation for the kids so that the kids read that text and try to answer the question relevant to the situation, there, rather than simply writing the whole text, I designed an infographic image for the kids that this is the situation. Take a look at that image. The image was really colorful and it had the relevant names of the kids who were really actually involved in the coffee shop or in some other activity. So I asked the Gemini to give me an image, a colorful image, which had some characters, nice looking characters, and along with the coffee shop. So that's how AI really helped me a lot. It actually did wonders for me because that's how the image, not only a single image, it created a series of images which created the interest of the kids, and then the kids analyzed those images and then tried to answer the formative assessment questions and summative assessment questions. So AI has really helped us, but I try to limit the use of AI in a way that I usually use the AI to create some images or brief video as well. I'm also using some AI software which give me brief videos as well, which are really relevant. But I don't really use the AI to generate questions. Questions are developed by me so that I can add a touch of physics, the content related. So that's how the AI has helped me a lot. But these days, if kids notice that the question is made by the AI, they start arguing, sir, if you can make the question from the AI, why can't we answer that using the AI? So that's how we need to keep ourselves safe as well. So yes, AI has helped us a lot in some way, and I'm using it sensibly as well.
Got it. So I think the question that you just said, right, like the student's question, that if you're using AI, why can't I as a student use it? So what is your opinion on that? Like, do you think, or do you encourage students using AI at least for learning or for assessments? Are there any guidelines, any protocols already in your school? I think, yeah, first these two, then I'm going to come to the third question.
Yeah. Actually, as these are the kids, we are dealing with the kids of age 14 and 15. So these kids are involved in a lot of things. So they try to do things in a very brief time. So if we allow them to use the AI, they usually just copy paste. So that's why, we try to ask them to use AI just for the informational purpose, just to align themselves, just to brainstorm, and then try to answer by themselves. And we encourage the kids to answer whatever they think about the question. So we keep adding the comments throughout the year in their assessments or even in their class tasks. That's how we maintain the log. The best part about the AssessPrep is this, that we have the comment section just by the side of each question. So we keep on adding the comments throughout the year, and we keep a record that this student usually use the AI and doesn't even use his or her mind. This thing gets segregated when we take assessments, monthly assessments, when they cannot use any other tab other than the lockdown app. So this thing gets highlighted on that day, on the assessment day. So that's how we discourage the kids, and we on purpose, mark really hard for those kids. We give them really low marks for the kids who have been using the AI excessively. So at this point, we don't actually encourage the use of AI to that much. Yeah.
Got it. I have two follow-up questions. One, how do you as a teacher get to know that the child has used AI? Because that's a very big question which all of us are dealing with, right? Lockdown, yes, because the kids can't open anything else when they're in the assessments. But let's say you've given an assignment, let's say you've given a homework, and I as a student have to go back and do it. How do you as a teacher get to know that I have used AI or I haven't used AI?
Sure. Yeah, oh my God. With a lot of experience, like I've been teaching for the past 10 years, and with the conversation, we usually keep on asking questions during the lesson from the kids, and we get to know the capability of the student. We know the kind of answers they can usually come up with. We know the kind of language the students usually use. So if there is a striking difference in their response in the class task or in the home task or in some assessment which is not on the lockdown app, so we notice it like on the spot. Like it's because of the experience. I can straight away tell that this is not the kind of response I can expect from this kid. So that's how we identify that this is the output of an AI, definitely.
I think that's a very, very, very important part, right? Because all of us as educators are always worried that, okay, it's like it's the elephant in the room where we say that AI is here to replace us. But what you just touched upon is the biggest and the most important thing a teacher has to do, which is keeping human in the loop when there's AI. It's about ensuring that you're paying attention to your students in the classroom, and that's how you bring the personal touch with the student, because you know the student. And AI will never know the student. You've developed those relationships with those students. You know that this is the potential, this is the capacity. Let's say a child could not do a particular thing, even if a child is doing a 2 on 10 or 30% improvement, you can see the improvement. And I think that is very important as a teacher. And I think that's the most important thing, given the way technology and AI is evolving, is to keep the teacher at the center of things and to keep them involved through and through the process. Even if child is using AI, not using it, it's your judgment. It is it's completely your judgment, because you know the students really well. So yeah, I mean, I think it's very interesting. And one, obviously, like you said, it's your experience that helps you understand if the child has used AI when they were not asked to, or the integrity is compromised even on the homework. But is there any other checks and balances that you as a teacher put to ensure that the AI doesn't get used in the wrong way in those homework? One is obviously like it's done, so your experience comes. But any checks and balances that you do, or anything that you sort of can suggest that the larger community can benefit from, if we were to give homework to students, something that ensures that AI doesn't get used and they genuinely want to do those homeworks?
Yeah, actually, the thing is, whenever we assign some tasks to the kids, they would definitely use AI, because we cannot restrict them and we cannot totally ask them to cut the use of the AI. They would definitely use AI. And most of the times they use the AI to get their tasks done. So what we do, whenever we take a look at the response, we get to know that this is the kind of response which we expect from the AI. We don't tell them on the next day or on some other days. I try to ask the relevant question related to the task orally during the class whenever we have some oral quiz. So that's how I ensure. And if I ask the kid and he isn't able to reply me the way he has replied in his or her task the other day, so I make the kid realize that obviously you took help to attempt that task, but this sort of help wouldn't be available for you for your assessment, for your end of term assessment. So kindly consider that this is not the right way. In fact, the student themselves tell me that yes, we have realized that this is not the right way, because if they are not able to give me a right response orally, so it means they haven't learned anything. So that's how they themselves realize that this is not the right way. So that's how next time they themselves try to attempt the task by themselves. This is my approach to make them realize.
God, I think another very important thing, right? It's not just about one-time assessment. It's not about one-time homework. There has to be continuous learning that comes in at every level. So even if a student's been giving homework, don't stop at that. Have your exit tickets related to it so that the learning is genuinely internalized. I think there are a lot of takeaways for anybody who's going to be listening in this conversation, because you've spoken about relatability, you've spoken about continuous learning, you've spoken about human in the loop and teachers' judgment over AI. So I think it's a fantastic conversation. I'm really enjoying this conversation. Okay, great. So I think I just now want to move on to the last part. Now that we've touched upon AI, we've spoken about homework, we've spoken about integrity, we've spoken about your overall approach to teaching and ensuring that it's relatable to students. I now want to understand from you that how do you ensure that your next day's lesson plan is backed by data? So how do you really use analytics in your teaching? I mean, first question is, do you use analytics? If yes, how do you use it? Are they helpful? What is your approach to analytics overall?
Yes, analytics is really nice way of keeping record of the students, and we usually use that at the end of each term when we have to give the students grade, overall grade, not just for their end of term assessment, but for the overall grade. We take a look at the analytics, the way the kids have been performing. Secondly, the best part about analysis, considering the analysis, I must say, whenever we check a particular question for the students, like say we have a 20 students class in each section, 20 so we check, in fact I check a particular question for all of the students in a single go. That's how I can analyze the kind of responses available for all of the kids, and that's how I ensure that grading is really relevant. Because I think that there isn't any standardized grading. There is always relevant grading, because whatever the level of the kids in each section is, I need to consider that. So I analyze the responses of all the kids by marking them in a single go. Like if I am checking question number 2.3, I check the question number 2.3 for all of the kids in a single go. So that's how I use the analysis. Whereas the special analytics button, which is available in the AssessPrep, we use that at the end of the term usually.
Got it. I think I'm very curious about your technique where you said that, so you look at one question and you grade it for all students, then you go to the next question, grade for all students. What kind of implication does that kind of grading have? Like, I mean, what do you learn from it? I mean, are you trying to understand if the question is relevant? Are you trying to see that if all students got that? Like, what kind of analytics or what kind of implication are you trying to get from that sort of grading? Because this is the first time hearing someone grade like this.
Yeah. First of all, this is really easy for us as a teacher. We don't need to consider what the question was. If we check the same question for all of the students, we have in mind what question are we checking. Secondly, the kind of response which we are expecting should be there. But if we see some of the kids have understood this question in a right way, which I consider right, if the percentage is more, then I consider that I successfully managed to deliver that concept during the classroom. But if I see that only a few kids have managed to respond really nicely, then I consider myself that I wasn't successful in delivering that concept to the class, to the other students. So that's how I then re-strategize my way of teaching. So this is the way, and this is basically the rationale behind checking all the same question for all of the students. Because if most of the kids didn't get that question right, then I can leniently mark that very question. So this is basically the rationale behind this.
I think that's very interesting because this is clearly data-informed teaching, right? Like looking at a question, seeing if all the students have understood your concepts. I think it's pretty interesting. So when you're doing something like this, do you face any challenges? Like, do you find that more time consuming? Do you find that, are there any challenges in this approach? Because if others were to learn from this, what kind of potential challenges should they be prepared for?
Yeah. Basically, I consider that way of, if I keep on checking the whole paper of a single student, that is basically a time-consuming approach, because then we need to keep on reading the question, each and every question again and again, and then we need to, switch our frame of mind as well. But if I keep on checking the same question for all of the students, I don't need to read the question again and again. I just need to take a look at the responses, and the expected response is always there in my mind. So that this is the approach of checking the assessments really quickly, as I've been teaching 87 kids of grade 9, almost 87 kids. So it's a huge number of kids, and I have to check their assessments on time. So over the time, I have developed this way of checking exams, and I found that really easy on my mind, and I don't have to use a lot of my mind to check this assessment in this way.
God, again, another tip that we're taking away from this conversation is try checking question by question. It may just end up saving you time and may give you more relevant analytics, even without trying to get analytics for the next day's class because it's so concept based. Okay, cool. I think I'm walking away with a lot of takeaways, and I'm sure the larger educator community is doing the same. Do you have any closing thoughts, any interesting anecdotes, any last minute strategies you want to share with the larger educator community that they can learn from that has been really successful for you?
With the passage of time, we have been improvising and we are changing our strategies. Because if I consider myself, 3 years ago, the way I tried to teach the kids was I tried to have more teacher talking time. But now I have realized that it's not about the teacher's talking time. We need to minimize our talking time, and we need to give the students the liberty to communicate and to share the way they are thinking. So that's how the other kids also take interest, and the other kids also wants to contribute. So over the years, I have understood that we should try to give the students some spark, through which they can start conversation, and they try to relate it with their daily life experiences. So that's how the students can learn something really nicely. It's gonna stay in their mind, and that's how they feel acknowledged. Because some of the concepts in physics, like if I start teaching them about the nuclear physics, they haven't experienced anything about the nuclear physics in their lifestyle, in their lifespan. So we try to come up with some situation where they can find themselves to contribute something. Like if they have heard something about the news related to some countries, either having the nuclear power or not nuclear power, or if they are using the nuclear energy for the production of electrical energy. So that's how we try to get kids on board in discussion. So this is what I have learned over the years. Okay, we should give the students the liberty to communicate and to contribute to the class discussion.
Got it. I think you've done a great closing for me. I don't think I can I would have said everything you've said, so there's no point to me repeating it, but thank you so much for all the learnings, all the strategies from your classroom. It is so helpful, and I'm sure the larger educator community that's going to be hearing this podcast would benefit from. Thank you again for your time, and I will be in touch. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I would like to thank you as well for having me here. I consider myself as a privileged teacher that you acknowledged my contributions, because I have made a lot of assessments, not just here. I managed to make a lot of assessments back there at my previous school, and those assessments are still in use. The upcoming teachers are still using those assessments. So thank you for acknowledging and considering my contribution.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you.